Oops. There I am. Hi to everyone that's joining. We're going to give folks a couple of minutes to get logged in to the Zoom for today, but thank you for joining us for Know the Power of Your DA. It will be presented by Isidra Osby and Andres Zuniga from All of Us Are None Bakersfield. In the meantime, if you all would please introduce yourselves in the chat with your name, pronouns, and where you are connecting from, your city. That'll help us get to know each other a little better and see where people are joining us from. We are also offering Spanish translation for today's presentation. So if you prefer to listen to this presentation in Spanish, you can go down to the bottom of your screen. The little world icon says interpretation, and you can change your language channel there if you prefer that. Buenas tardes a todos y gracias por acompañarnos. Esa presentación va a ser traducida en español. Si gustan escuchar esa presentación en español, pueden seleccionar su canal de lenguaje ahorita antes de que comenzamos la presentación. Va a ser es como el logo de un mundo y dice interpretación y ahí puede usted seleccionar su canal de lenguaje. Okay, we still have folks trickling in. If everyone, as we're waiting for folks to trickle in, if you can introduce yourself in the chat with your name, pronouns, and where you're checking in from, that way we know a little bit about who's on the call tonight. Okay. Should we get started? Are our presenters ready to go? All right, so let's go ahead and get started. My name is Myra Rios. I'm a member of the Criminal Justice Coalition of Kern, and I'll be going over some Zoom logistics and then handing it over to our presenters for tonight. Please know that this is intended to be an interactive meeting, so we want to have a casual, more conversational feel to tonight. So you're encouraged to use the chat box to share any comments or ask any questions that you have. And the Zoom reactions down at the bottom of your screen, the little happy face reactions lets you react if you hear something and you want to react to it. In order to speak and to kind of keep us on track and know who wants to unmute themselves to speak, if you can please type the word stack in the chat box, then we'll go back through and call your name so that you can unmute yourself in order and you can ask your question live. Otherwise, you can type it into the chat. Also, please note that we are prioritizing cyber safety during today's meeting. And so anybody who shares anything that's non-consensual or visually or verbally vulgar or inappropriate will be removed tonight. And I believe with that, I'm going to hand it over to Isidra from All of Us or None to get tonight's presentation started.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Isidra Osby, as Mara said, and I'm with All of Us Are None Bakersfield. And our agenda tonight includes who we are and the role of the DA, Kern County DAs, tough on crime policies, and what you can do. All of Us Are None in Kern County Criminal Justice Coalition. All of Us Are None is a statewide, actually nationwide grassroots organization that fights for the rights of formerly and currently incarcerated people and their families. We want to strengthen the voices of people affected by mass incarceration, build the political power, and restore incarcerated people's human and civil rights. And the Kern County Criminal Justice Coalition works to promote public safety through community and political engagement opportunities. Now, what everybody's been waiting for. Get some volume, please.
Can you try unmuting yourself, Rosa? We're not getting volume. Hey, Rosa, we're not getting volume somehow. I don't know. Yeah, people are confirming in the chat they're not hearing the video. I don't know if it looks like your volume's up on your computer, right?
Sorry, it's
Hey, John
better?
Legend here. Lately, I've joined the fight to end mass incarceration, and I've been meeting with many important figures involved with the criminal justice system across the country. But there is one group I want to talk about today: district attorneys. Within a single role, they have the power to decide who gets criminal charges filed against them, the severity of those charges, or if charges get filed at all. And this covers everything from theft, drug crime, environmental crime, violent crimes, and more severe cases such as rape or murder. These are the responsibilities of your district attorney. Your initial reaction might be that justice is being fairly served. But understand that despite state and federal laws, the influential power they carry allows them to prioritize or deprioritize how those laws are enforced and who they are enforced against. They literally have the power to send people to prison for life and send people to death row. Armed burglary by a teen is a crime, but the DA decides whether that young person is thrown away or treated through rehabilitation. In a single decision, free from accountability, DAs can funnel people into the prison system, trapping them in the revolving door of mass incarceration. Equally so, they can give them a second chance. These DAs represent our voice, but most of our DA's actions don't represent what we believe. Let's take a look at Proposition 47, which reduced the penalties for certain nonviolent offenses. In California, the majority voted to pass the proposition, but only 2 of the 58 district attorneys at the time agreed. With all the power the DA holds, they can operate in a bubble, and if not aligned with the people, can undermine the winning proposition. When no one is watching, there is no accountability. The district attorney is an elected position which represents your interests in the criminal justice system. It's up to you to hold them accountable, which starts by getting to know them. The power you have starts with just saying, hey,
That's a very powerful, powerful video. And someone said in the chat, it's enlightening. The role of the district
Yes, I
attorneys.
agree with you. I agree with you, Cedar, 100%. I'm sure that everyone that's attending also agrees with you. That was a very powerful, powerful video, along with, you know, the name of this webinar, the role, know the power of your district attorney is a very powerful statement. I'd like to start off by introducing myself. My name is Andres Zuniga. I'm the newest member of All of Us Are None Bakersfield. I want to share with you that I'm formerly incarcerated. I've been out about 18 months after serving a 10-year federal sentence. I'm very fortunate that I was led to a nonprofit organization in San Fernando in Los Angeles, and was able to work in reentry. I've had the opportunity to speak at a few board of supervisors meetings on the Alternatives to Incarceration initiative, which I had which actually my daughter co-led, and also the Reimagine LA initiative that's going on in Los Angeles also. I'm very excited to be a part of All of Us Are None now, and to bring this movement and this campaign here to Bakersfield, and to potentially shadow a model that's being integrated in Los Angeles. I'm very excited about that and the opportunity that Cedric gave to me here at All of Us Are None Bakersfield. I just want to spend a little time on speaking on some points that John, was speaking about in that very powerful video. The role of district attorney. The district attorney is the largest and most powerful component in the U.S. mass incarceration machine. Very powerful statement. He has the power. Power has a lot of faces, but what's been practiced here in Bakersfield takes on a face of its own. A district attorney, he decides who gets prosecuted. He goes case by case, and identifies evidence, and identifies how strong the case is against the individual that's being prosecuted, or that's being the alleged person that's being prosecuted. He's also in charge of what crimes to charge with. So he identifies the evidence, and identifies the crimes that this individual is going to be charged with. Very important responsibilities that have a lot of bearing on a person's future, and not only his future, but also the people in his life, which are his family, and the community as well. He also has the power to route who's going to go into diversion programs. So it's my understanding, for the most part, that's pretty non-existent in Bakersfield. I know there's some drug diversions that exist, but there's so much more that could be done. He also has the power to grant bail and to hold people and lock them up while while their case is heard. That's an important responsibility as well. Taking into accountability, the degree of the crime, the impact it's going to have on not only the individual that's being charged, but also his family, his work, his employment, the community, society. There's a lot more to it than just the face of it. He also has the power to determine who gets probation, who goes to prison, who's granted parole. Those are very important elements, and that affect the person. Again, not just the person, but the individuals connected to him. Another responsibility he has that is very powerful is who should get the death penalty. Severity of the crime, and identifying who's going to be charged and who's going to be eligible for the death penalty. Next slide, please. I want to spend a little time before I introduce, speak about these former district attorneys and speak about this book, Mean Justice. It's a very powerful book. I haven't had the opportunity to read it myself, but I researched it, in depth today, and I was very concerned on some of the reviews and some of the information that's tied to this book. It's described as it's set in the toughest town on crime in America, an all-American town, Bakersfield, one of the toughest anti-crime communities in the nation. In the nation, everybody, in the nation. We're part of a large nation, and to be identified as one of the toughest anti-crime communities is very powerful. Also, some of the material that's connected to this book. Oh, by the way, the book is about an innocent man wrongly convicted here in Bakersfield. It involves the immense new power of prosecutors, the dark side of the justice system. That was really concerning for Bakersfield to be connected to a dark side of a justice system. Justice system just speaks for itself. Justice, what's right, one of the statements that I read today was there was numerous revelations of police and prosecutorial misconduct in numerous other cases. So, it sounds like a trend that, that's very concerning to us as organizations, as a community. I want to start in 1970. We started with Albert M. Letty, prosecutor from 1970 to 1982. That's 12 years of leadership from one individual. The next individual that's probably the most concerning out of this list is Edward R. Jagels. He was a prosecutor from 1983 to 2010. He was the longest sitting DA in California. He was tough on his one of his quotes was tough on crime. He was a tough on crime prosecutor. I want to also read a little bit about what I read on him. He's a former American prosecutor and was Kern County, California's longest sitting district attorney, holding the office from 1983 to 2010. During this time, he prosecuted some notorious cases of wrongful convictions. And engaged in what is now acknowledged widely to have been a pattern of prosecutorial misconduct, in which he convicted innocent people of abusing children. This gentleman was in office for almost 30 years. 25 of those cases of child abuse were overturned. Just unethical practices, prosecutorial misconduct. This isn't just our opinions. These are the facts. Very concerning to Kern County and to our communities. It's just amazing how long this went on. From there, we had Lisa Green from 2011 to 2019, and presently we have Cynthia Zimmer, 2019, and I just want to add, she was coming up for re-election in 2022. Like our organization and all those organizations we're connected with, we're strongly encouraging voter registration. We have to get ready for this. We have to come together as a community, as a city, and face this. This is a time for change, and this has gone on far too long. Thank you. Next slide.
I see quite a few comments in the chat. Would anybody like to speak up about what they've heard thus far?
I will. If anybody who grew up in Kern County in the 80s, 90s, thousands knows that, you know, Ed Jagels was a tyrant, and he was determined to run that office very much as you've described. He did what he wanted, and pretty much regardless of whatever guidelines might have been handed down to him by the state. And so you mentioned, of course, the case of the witch hunts in the 1980s, when numerous people were sent to prison for long prison sentences. Some of them died, only to find that it was all a prosecutorial hoax. And it's frightening to think that he still maintains a desk in Zimmer's office as a consultant. And she is still apparently listening to him. And it's not just the millions of dollars that he costs the county, although as taxpayers, we certainly want to be concerned about that. But more importantly, the lives that were ruined and the continuing suffering of people still sitting in prison because of what other prosecutorial misconduct that we don't even know about. It's hard to believe that he only screwed up on those cases. And no doubt there are many, many people, and probably many people of color, who are sitting behind bars even now, with him having been out of office for nearly 20 years, 11 years, excuse me, people still paying a price for him.
I want to note too that Zimmer went on conservative talk radio as a substitute guest host for the person who normally hosts it when he's on vacation, and brought on her use of force expert. And the guy she brought on said she described him as her go-to, her lead on all officer involved shooting cases and all brutality cases. He's the one who's got all the training, et cetera, et cetera. But when you look him up on calbar.org, you see that he was suspended by the bar for a year for lying on a defendant's statement, claiming that the guy said that he, something that he didn't. And that one sentence, like, I think doubled or tripled the sentence that he would have gotten had it not been caught. And when the public defender called him out on it, the district attorney said, oh, it was just a joke. And he's still there in her office handling all officer involved shooting cases.
The hell? Wow.
I'll have to send you all the link. You can read the investigation from the bar and read the facts and everything.
Please include that in the chat. Whew. Whitney.
I'm hoping not to talk a whole lot, but I don't know if this is appropriate kind of question for this evening or perhaps some future gathering of this nature, but what effect can an effective public defender have in this conversation? And do we have an effective public defender at this time?
That is a great question. And it is something that we should definitely talk about in the future. Because I believe it's an important role for somebody to take a stand on in that office, because their lives that are on the line, whole family units, generational trauma from these vicious policies, and nobody's standing up for the community. So thank you for bringing that up, and that's going to be noted. We're going to talk about DA Zimmer. She was elected in June of 2018. She's been a prosecutor for 35 years. and 12 of those, she's been in our gang unit here in Kern County. And she also supports the tough on crime narrative from Jagels. And she says the following things are her 3 top priorities. And that's reducing violent crimes, in particular gangs. The second one is to improve services to quote unquote victims in rural areas. What those are, I don't know, because she picks and chooses. And she's been known to say she's going to stop the destructive effects that our liberal state legislator is having on law enforcement. This is very disturbing, you know, when she gets up and she makes these statements as she has in the past. And these are articles that she's proven to be the person that she is. And says that she wanted to reduce homelessness by jailing people. That's just ridiculous, you know. And they really pushed the line to try to do that new policy. And then the people last year that stood up for the killing of the person protesting downtown, she said that was a tactic to intimidate. And people were just merely protesting. And then her response to the DA Gascon in LA. You know, I'm really disturbed by her continuance of this, in spite of the impact, the negative impact on the community, the hurting in our community. Next slide, please. We're going to talk about these tough on crime policies. DA Zimmer narrative of reduce high violent crimes is misleading. We have the data. Everybody wants to know the data. We have the data, and this data is related to specifically Kern County, which is awesome, right? So we have a $1 Million Hood report that from 2003 to 17, when arrests in California declined to 16.5%, our arrests in Bakersfield increased. It increased 32%. That's huge. And that 32% increase, it came from arresting unhoused people. From 9 to 32%. Criminalizing the poor, the unhoused. Does that make sense? Does that sound like tough on crime? And from
I'm
20,
sorry. It sounds like she's just getting a lot of money per head, so she's gonna see anybody out on the street, criminalize them, and make an arrest, get that money, and house another person, etc., etc.
Yeah. And we've got to talk about this and ask ourselves, does this add up? Does this plan out like the way she says? I don't think it's very tough to arrest unhoused people. What have they done? They're homeless. You know, from 2010 of January to December of 2016, Kern County jails booked 8,604 people who were later released after having their case dismissed. Is that how we want our tax dollars spent?
Waste of time and money.
Yeah. Hard-earned money. I mean, that says that these people should have never been arrested in the first place. They were later going to be have their case dismissed. You know, people spend an average of 36 days in jail on cases that were later dismissed. So, you know, there's, not sure if you guys know about it, but I'm gonna tell you, there's 48,000 collateral consequences based on one single arrest, not conviction, arrest. Okay, and this cost the community $29.3 million. That's a huge bucket of money. The million, who is MHD? It's the $1 million hood. And they are ran by the UCLA team. I forget her name, but I can share it with you in the chat. But this is the data that was requested from BPD. And so it's their data, it's their truth. And the $1 Million Hood Project, they went through the data and they shared this with us. And can you guys see the top 5 charges? Possession of drugs and paraphernalia, failure to appear, suspended license, public disturbance, police evasion or arrest. Are these high-level crimes? Not at all. Next slide, please.
And you know what, Isidra, I'm just thinking she's like writing her own narratives with all these, you know, unhoused people getting arrested in jail just to get that money in. And she's making it sound like it's all criminals and she's doing it tough on crime when, you know, maybe they have some kind of a loitering or something. It's nothing to be jailed for.
I definitely agree with you. You know, and that was $29.3 million that could have provided a lot of housing for our unhoused population. That could have provided a lot of interventions for our people out there in these top 5 charges that they're being given. They need help. And jailing somebody is not help.
Yeah, they need to think about rehabilitation programs, housing programs, and mental health services to get people the help they need. Like you said, it's generational. So I work in the community with a lot of kids, and all I see are these kids affected by their family members who, you know, the dad's gone or mom's gone because they're somewhere in the system. They're not able to be there with their kids. And, you know, that's just going to continue, just make it worse. You know, it's going to, bad cycle to be in.
Yep. You're talking about the ripple effect of all this, the impact. It spreads far and deep. You know, it just creates a domino effect. You know, you have the parents and you have the kids, and then everything is going down and down. You know, that brings in a huge amount of trauma within our neighborhoods, within our communities.
And they're talking about, you know, how the ACEs, the adverse childhood traumas are really big, you know, and that's why these cycles continue, but they're not doing anything to help with that. They need treatment and support, not just continued incarceration, discrimination, and just everything else that comes along with that.
But we can help. I'm glad you guys are all here. Like, we can be a part of that process. Nobody ever shared that information with us before. And now that we know, we can continue to invest in learning more so that we can do more. And I'm
Can,
gonna,
can other people speak here?
yes, go ahead.
This information stops at 217. That's the latest of it.
Yes.
Okay. So, but now you know. So, what are you doing about it now? And what kind of help you need? That's what I need to know.
We have begun this educational series, and we're going to come together and strategize. You can join us by strategizing and putting a plan together. That would be awesome. We need more voices.
It will be on Zoom, right? Because I don't think I
Yes.
can make it out there. All right. I'd be interested in helping you with that. I will put my information in there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now I'll pass it to Andres.
Thank you, CJ.
You're welcome.
So let me share a scenario with you, everyone. A habitually homeless man suffers from acute mental illness, and a fit of psychosis attacks someone walking by. Very serious. The attack resulted in some injuries to the passerby, including a broken finger. What would you do? Or what would you want to happen? Kern County's practice to pursue the maximum felony charge with the maximum 4 years in state prison, plus a 3-year enhancement for great bodily injury. Speaking from experience, I want to share with you that mental health has no place in the carceral system. There is some form of, treatment in there, but not by any means the level that someone with mental health issues needs. So the box that's marked is pursue a misdemeanor charge and require. So that means he's required. It's not, suggested or, advised. It's required mental health treatment with the goal of helping the man stabilize his mental illness, establish ongoing care, and acquire housing. I just want to share a little bit of my, personal experience. I have a nephew that's struggling with mental health issues. He was charged in Los Angeles with a major felony of what's it called when you're burning something. He was just trying to get warm, and he built a fire. And for that, he was charged with, a felony, a major felony. He was looking at some major time. And because of the programs that are instilled in Los Angeles County, fortunately, the second choice of pursuing misdemeanor charge and his requirement, he's just finished a year in-house mental health treatment, and he just got transferred to a lower level mental health facility where he's being monitored. He's doing great. We speak to him on the phone, and he's not the person that he would have been if he would have been, in the carceral system. He would have got worse. Who knows what could have happened? Violence maybe on him. There's just a world of things that could have happened to him that would have worsened his condition. I just wanted to share that a little bit with you all. I also want to share this fact here on the bottom. People who suffer from untreated mental illness can become stable with proper treatment and support. In addition, providing them with wraparound mental health and supportive services is far more cost effective than incarcerating them. That's just it's just using our community dollars wiser. Our track record here is not impressive. You know, we've been using our tax dollars in not the very best ways. We have to take a step back and look at that, you know, and I look forward to with this movement, with, you know, these coming initiatives and proposals that will bring this to light, you know, to the community, so that would go in a favorable direction, for the, you know, for the better of everyone. A little bit about the DA's role. DAs can protect justice and those most susceptible to injustice. You know, that falls into, you know, mental health, individuals that are struggling with mental health. They're supposed to protect people against police. You know, going back to justice, you know, what's right. They can challenge the status quo and pass priorities so that success means justice instead of the harsher sentence. What's in the best interest of this individual? You know, these charges are severe, but, you know, what else is involved here? You know, is there room for other options? Let's make those other options viable and, you know, existent, so that we can explore something different that's, you know, has had proven success in other states, in other counties. Let's all come together, you know. Does anybody have anything to share about this this page here that we just went over? Okay, next slide. Okay, I just want to make it clear to everyone. This is not a smear campaign. We're just simply going over the facts and, you know, what's been existing in our county, in Kern County, for far too long, decades of injustice. And the time is now, everyone. The time is now for change and to do something different, to explore different avenues for our loved ones, our families, our communities, for ourselves, everyone, for ourselves. I'm not going to sit here and mislead you. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all. But if we all come together as the community we are, as a strong community we can be, we can all come together and make this change together. I just want to share, the gentleman was interested in, you know, what's the plan? You know, this is relatively new to Kern County. You know, we're trying to come together. We're trying to formulate a plan. You know, part of what's been discussed is a call to action. You know, bringing all of our organizations here together to formulate a plan. I want to share a couple of ideas in this process of creating our plan for our campaign. I encourage, you know, our organization, as well as the organizations that we are tied to host webinars like this one, to promote education and awareness to our communities, encouraging community engagement, to conduct outreach in our communities.
Can I ask another question, please?
Sure, absolutely.
What do your numbers look like in Kern County?
I don't have them in front of me, sir.
Well, you can
But
guesstimate, just guesstimate. Give me an idea.
What numbers are you concerned with, sir?
Your voting numbers, and the regular population.
So let me go over my proposal, sir.
Okay,
And maybe some potential goals on, voter registration. I'm gonna go over, setting a quota of to where we need to be so that we can all work towards these goals. One of the goals that I shared is to host webinars like this one and encourage the community to attend these webinars to bring awareness and encourage community engagement, conduct community outreach, um, also promoting community awareness, obtaining feedback from the community. This can be done at courthouses. This could be done at churches, faith-based organizations. This could be done at the social services offices. There's many places that we can come together and bring awareness to the community so that they can join in this campaign. Also, providing a platform of communication plan, so we can engage the community and providing communication tools like emails, contact information, social media platforms to bring how the community feels, so that offices like the district attorney, the mayor's office, the police commissioner, the captain, community county officials, so they can maybe become aligned with what the community is asking for, the community's needs, rather than practicing things that haven't had very much success in our county. Also, we're going to propose to interview victims of our carceral system and publish their stories in newsletters or other media outlets. That also will contribute to community awareness and obtaining feedback from the community and promoting accountability. Why are these things happening? Where is the root of this happening? And that way it gives us, an avenue to where to start. Also, I mentioned before, promoting voter registration. I've had success with this last, voting season to encourage individuals to vote online. It's very, very easy. We can also help individuals that aren't very savvy on the computer, to get them registered. We could set goals like, let's set a goal by the next voting season. We're gonna register 20,000 individuals, 10,000 individuals, whatever number we can come up with. We could work, we could collaborate together, and and promote these views of the feedback that we obtain from the community on what is it that the community needs. Encouraging those communication outlets to these offices like the district attorney's office, so that they can align with the community, to provide a prosecutorial structure that is supported by the community. That all these things, like I said, it's not going to be easy, but this is going to be the forefront. This is going to be, if you don't mind me saying, the baby step towards something a lot bigger. That could provide a lot of potential. That is very possible. That is happening in other counties, and it's very possible in Kern County if we collaborate and we come together and we become strong in this movement.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And sir, I apologize for not having the data that you're consuming, but if you put your information in the chat,
it's in there, Chaplain James.
If anybody
Don't apologize to me though.
Thank you.
We'll get you, Mr. Lickett. We'll get
can
you.
answer some of the questions that this gentleman has. I apologize for not having that information.
Well, as long as someone has it.
We're about at a 500,000 mark, but I wanted to uplift the comments in the chat. There's a bunch of them. You guys are busy, and I like that. This engagement is great. The last one that I saw is from Whitney. She says, getting voters out to oust Zimmer is a gargantuan task. Voter reg is nice, but we know right now that Democrats outnumber Republicans in Kern. Problem is, many simply do not vote. Registration is easy, getting people to actually vote is hard. That is, I agree. It's been a challenge, you know.
No. I say, remember Georgia. Let me speak. Remember Georgia. Georgia had it the other way around and they still won. So only thing you need to do is get out there and you can make it happen. If your numbers are bigger, only thing you got to do is get motivated and get the people out there and start early. Don't start late.
You have to remember though, in Georgia, they began 10 years ago. And they lost a whole bunch of elections in that 10 years before we finally got Ossoff and Warnock elected. They finally, after 10 years, they created the machine. So you can't just jump in and say, in 6 months, we'll be ready to go.
No, but you try. Are you doing it? You have to try. You don't know. And if your numbers are already bigger, I see why not.
Because it takes more than 6 months to get people mobilized to do the mass registration, and especially the getting out the vote. Getting out the vote effectively in this county takes hundreds of people canvassing in the weeks just prior to the election after absentee ballots go out. And we don't have hundreds of people. Do you see how many people are on this Facebook right now? There's like 20 of us.
I'm not that, I only have my little bitty phone. I don't have a laptop or nothing like that.
But we don't have hundreds of people who are going to set aside everything else they care about and just do this. So we have an education campaign to conduct among ourselves, amongst the people that we know, to push people to make this an absolute priority. I'm not saying we can't do it. I'm saying we're going to get this done by 2022 is a long haul. It's possible, and definitely we need to start. And if it means we lose one election, we keep going. And maybe we lose another election, we keep going. And maybe.
Now, I like that tone. I like that tone. I like the other tone.
I don't mean to be a naysayer. I'm saying we need to be realistic, right?
Well,
Stacey Abrams didn't get Ossoff and Warnock elected alone in 6 months.
If you don't try, you never know. That's just my opinion. They say I'm crazy, so I don't know.
No, I appreciate you sharing that, and you know, being that the culture is different from on the East and the West Coast, but we can come together and we can have conversations just like this so that we can try to do things that we haven't been able to do in the past. So I appreciate all people on the call that is willing to speak up and actually engage, because this is where we need to be at in a moment of engaging and have more and more. So this is just the beginning. We will definitely keep your guys' email and give you a shout out when it's time for the next webinar. But we have to keep engaging no matter what. We have to keep educating everybody or each other. No matter what. This is how we can grow. This is how we can get what we need as a community. You know, and I want to acknowledge Kathleen Stiles' comment. She says we need to redefine tough on crime to focus on the underlying conditions that lead to crime and the kind of community services that will alleviate those. 100%. I definitely agree. I'm an interventionist by profession, and I believe that there's an intervention for everything. There's always an intervention at every level. So asking for those community services that our communities need on those budgets, and right now in between time, just addressing Zimmer's office. Call them. It's a local call. You can call every day, all day, and ask whatever you want to change. You can ask them, how do we do that? Can we have a meeting? Can we meet on Zoom? Can we meet in person? However that is, we can ask and we can do that. And if you need help, reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to talk about how you can say it, when you can say it, and all that good stuff. We can learn a lot from each other. And when he says reframing that phrase will take a long time and cost a lot of money, it can be done if we can build a huge machine and do it. Who's got the power?
We do.
Yeah, people. People have the power,
People.
right? And so we have to keep that in mind. I know that, growing up here has had a huge impact on my belief system, being born and impacted, having that generational trauma, it does wear on you, and it's we're on a huge part of the community. They feel defeated and they have fear, but we have information. We have information on your rights, on what can be done and how it can be done so people can do it safely, right? And so I encourage you guys to stay involved with us, and I appreciate you guys showing up. This has been really awesome tonight. Stay connected on our social media, as well as our website. You can sign up to receive updates about what's going on, what's the next step, how you can all get involved. Can we all make the commitment before we get off that we're going to stay involved? Do I hear any eyes? Can I see a hands up in the chat?
I am interested in staying involved, and I am glad everybody that came out tonight to discuss this.
Awesome, awesome. Well, you all have a great night. We're going to be respectful of your time. It is 6 p.m. and thank you all.
If you need me, call me.
I will. I got your information now.
All right.
Good night.